Today is part 3 of the Confident Coach series, where we're talking about how to create consistent results with your clients. Hey, I'm Amanda, and welcome to the Best Damn Coach podcast, where I will teach you how to coach yourself, how to coach your clients, and how to run your coaching business. The number one goal of this show, though, is to help you be the best damn coach you can be so your clients go out and tell the world about you. So let's do the damn thing. Welcome to the culminating part 3 of our Confident Coach series. I'm super excited you're here. And if you haven't caught the first 2 parts, I definitely encourage you to go back and take a listen. Part 1, we looked at 3 really tangible, simple steps to build more confidence as a coach. I give a formula for confidence in there. Our part 2 focuses in on the importance of the client experience to really feel that you are the coach that you say you are, and just welcoming and making your people feel seen and heard. So I definitely encourage you to go back and listen to those 2, although you don't need them for this episode, but create the space to go back and listen. You will be so glad you did. This whole series was built in preparation for our challenge going down this week. It is not too late to join us. We just started yesterday, and you can go to amanda-walker.com/skills. The title of the week is Coaching Skills Week. I'm going to teach you how to grow your skills and your confidence as a coach, practitioner, or leader in this 5 days. So if you haven't signed up, no biggie. Go there now, amanda-walker.com/skills. Sign up. We'll bring you right into the Facebook group. You missed 1 training, no big deal, or 2 trainings. You can watch them on replay. We don't want you to miss out. I'm going to be live in the group every day at 10. Your opportunity to win prizes is still there, so don't worry. Just come join us. And you will be so glad you did, because over the course of the 5 days, I'm going to teach you how to be a better coach and practitioner and give you some really tangible ways to feel like your confidence is just going to explode, and you're going to be able to show up differently in your coaching practice or service-based practice. So again, come join us, amanda-walker.com/skills. And this is also as we're leading into some amazing bonuses that are going to be available starting next week to come inside the Best Damn Coach. Look, we're almost halfway through the year. And if you are still feel like you're twiddling your thumbs, you're not seeing the results you want, you lack confidence, you lack self-belief, you're not sure the next best steps to take, this is what we do inside the BDC. So I don't want to spoil that. I'm going to be talking more about the next episode, but we are offering some really juicy bonuses when you come be a member inside the Best Damn Coach program. So stay tuned for more of that. So let's dive into today's episode, where I am talking how to create consistent results with your clients. Now, I'm going to emphasize the word with. We are not doing the work for our people, so I am not creating the results for my clients. And the clients aren't doing it by themselves either. So I like to say this is a co-created relationship. The results happen together. We are a partnership. We are a team. What I want you to think about is this. What if with every client that signs up with you and says yes to your services, they came to you and got the exact results they wanted? What if you just felt so confident about that everybody who showed up got what they wanted? Think about how it would uplevel your confidence and how it would build self-belief, as we talked about in day 1. Imagine that. That's what I want you to feel, because it is possible. And so today I'm going to talk about some of the strategic ways that you can start to really increase the consistency of the results you provide. And when we start out, often our own results are a catalyst for the passion that inspires us to coach. I'll use myself as an example. Way back in the beginning, I've been coaching since I was 15, but I've coached so many types of people and so many different types of results. But when I started my own business, the catalyst for my starting, right, in coaching was that I experienced such a deep, health transformation and weight loss transformation. It totally changed my life that I was like, more people have to have this, right? And I have this skill set now that I can teach people how to do this. And I think that's common for so many passion-driven, heart-centered entrepreneurs, coaches, practitioners. We had such an amazing experience that we want more people to have it. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think this is where integrity in coaching really matters. Yes, those results are going to be what fuels the fire for you, right? This is why when we go to school for something, we have the academic background where they're like, okay, and then what? Yay, but like if your passion and heart isn't in it, then it kind of ends up like being a sinking ship. But the true ability to coach is to be able to replicate the results that you have as a person and be able to duplicate that and replicate them with client after client and be able to repeat them. And so this is where today's conversation becomes super relevant. Or you might be a content expert. Like you are really good at something. You're really good at, I don't know, making green smoothies. But you're really not good at coaching other people how to make green smoothies. Then the true ability to coach is to be able to take those results and able to repeat them. So I think it can come one of two ways. It could be somebody that had such passionate or such great results themselves, or somebody that just has really great content expert juiciness. They are similar in that we want to then help be able to replicate those results, because you can be so freaking good, but if you can't help other people be good, then what does it matter? I had a CrossFit coach like this. He was like the ultimate CrossFit athlete. He was so talented, but that didn't translate into his ability to actually teach other CrossFitters to be great. He was a great athlete, but he lacked in the coaching element. I thought, oh man, if he could just have some like constructive feedback on how to improve as a coach, he could just be like a powerhouse. And so what I mean about delivering consistency in your client results is that your customers won't all have the exact same results. I want to be clear. It isn't always very cookie cutter like that. What I mean is that each are unique butterflies and their goals are going to look different, and that's okay. But I'm talking about being able to guarantee results in a general way so that each client walks away applauding your coaching and say, I got what I came here for. And they're going to define that at the beginning of the coaching session. And that's a really important piece to this. And that's where I think a lot of coaches lack. And we're going to be diving in during the challenge this week, is making sure that that's something that is happening inside of your coaching. So let's dive into what do we need to do then to guarantee consistency, to be confident that when they show up, we're able to provide results. The first thing that starts before we even say yes to a client. In order to guarantee results, you got to make sure that you're working with the right person. So you want to make sure that the client that you say yes to is an ideal fit for you. So we want to get great at vetting out the red flags, the things that are like, I don't know if that person is really ready for me or if that person is really a great fit. So if they're like, well, it kind of is important, or I don't know if I'm really wanting to do the work. If we're not great at not being desperate, right? We don't want to be desperate. Like any person that comes to you is somebody I can help. That's not always true. So we want to make sure that the person that we say yes to is somebody that is an ideal fit for us, because we don't want to be 6 months in and go, shoot, that didn't work out, right? And we learn by doing, and that's inevitably going to happen to us. And the other thing to know about the results is that while we absolutely want every client to get results, there are going to be some of those clients that come through that just are not responsible to taking action. And this is why I want you to be a better coach. This is why I want you to be inside the BDC, because we troubleshoot this. What happens when they're not doing the thing they say they're going to do? Because it's not always sometimes that they just don't want results. Sometimes there is a block there. Sometimes there are other things happening. It's our job to try to dig in there and find what's happening to try to get them to create results. And also a habit that I have, a pattern that I have that I'm working to break, is I want to save everybody. I want to be like, ooh, she hasn't had results with anybody else. I want to be the person to change that. And what I've had to do is let that go, because if they're in the pattern of things not working, it may be that they don't actually want to change, and we can't do the work for them. We can be responsible for being curious about what's going on, but just know that there are times that that is going to exist. So in order to understand client results, I'm going to be sharing this inside of the challenge so you can see the graphics and everything that I am talking about today. But I really encourage you to head on over and sign up for the challenge, because I'm going to go in depth into this on day 2 or day 3 rather. And that is, there is a client readiness journey. And so what happens is the client is kind of coasting through life. And then all of a sudden something happens that kind of rocks their world, and they begin to plummet. And the speed at which they plummet, maybe it's not so plummet, maybe it's a slow crawl, but they begin to fall away from the results that they want. Something happens. It could be the loss of a family member, a new job, they start a business, they have children, and all of a sudden they start to kind of take a journey downward where they're moving further and further away from the person that they want to be. And as they fall, there is going to be a rock bottom at some point that they may hit. And it's often at that rock bottom or close to it that they decide, like, I can't do this alone. I need help. I need support. And this is the opportunity. And this is why talking about and being clear on your clients' pain points on what that looks like for them is so important to weave into your marketing, because they identify with being in that rock bottom place, right? Where they have no, for you guys, it would be like, I have no consistent clients. I'm afraid to take action. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what the right place to start is. But rock bottom for everybody is different. And often is, on the descent down, there might be places where people think they need help or they even hire support, but because they haven't gotten to like the very bottom, it's actually not enough pain for them to even care to take action. And so this is a tricky part of the conversation. Our goal then is to take them from that descent and create an ascent. So when they come for coaching, our job is to take them from that rock bottom and take them up to kind of a new level of possibility. I want to say to this, they can totally do it alone. Everybody is capable of solving their problems alone. That is an inherent belief I have. It's just that coaching can help us get there faster. So it's like, do you want to take 5 years to get there, or do you want to take 6 months or a year? The client gets to make that decision. And I will say, you could totally do this alone. There is not a shortage of information on the internet to do these things alone. It's about the implementation and the accountability. Are you going to keep showing up when it gets hard? Are you going to keep showing up when things get challenging? And then as coaches, we're taking them to that new normal, that new baseline. And that's really the whole client journey of understanding why they're showing up to you and what your role is specifically. And so once the client has identified that and you've agreed and you've vetted out the red flags and they are your client, then one thing that I really like to have my clients go back and think about is you have your own way of taking clients from the beginning of your relationship to the results. You may not know it or see it clearly yet, but over the course of serving a few clients and even reflecting on your own journey, you can kind of look back and start to see there are common steps that I've taken to help my clients create those results. On coaching session 1, I did this, and then I saw this happen. So then I decided, okay, I need to do this. And then I saw this happen and I decided I needed to do this. And so what you're developing is what we call your framework, your unique framework. There is no right way to coach. There's no right steps to take to get someone from point A to point Z. The idea here is how you establish your voice and your unique sauce as a coach is you establish your way, and that your way is unique. It's unlike anybody else's way out there. This is how we find our voice. And this is, again, things we do inside the BDC is like, okay, but what would you do? I could put 10 coaches next to each other. We could coach the same client. We would all do it differently and we would all be right. Right. But I encourage you to create consistency in results is what is your framework, and write it down. On session 1, here's what I would see. Session 2, here's what I would see. And you're going to see these patterns emerge for the majority of clients. You're absolutely going to have your outliers that don't necessarily move in that particular order, but you still have your steps. And the art of coaching comes when you can guide them through this and know when they need which steps. And it may not follow that framework consistently. But the art of coaching comes from being flexible and being able to meet them where they are at. If you're a health coach and you plan to teach, let's say, meal planning on session 3, but it seems to be the greatest pain point on session 2, great coaches will meet their clients where they're at and say, okay, well, I'm just going to jump that in because that's really meeting your needs right now. That seems to be the greatest pain point. So let's go ahead and dive into that together. Right. And that is the art part. I know so many coaches who go through these certifications, and one of the failures I see is that they try to stay so rigid. Well, I learned in this way in certification. Sure, you learned it, but establishing your voice and your uniqueness as a coach is the art of applying the learnings in a way that makes sense for your people. We are not robots. If you try to coach robots, you're not going to create results. So when you dive into each session, the way I encourage and the framework I teach is step 1 is we got to hear what's going on in the brain of our client. If we come in and we're like, it's session 3, I teach session 3 content, then I think we're making a mistake before we even get started. We have to hear where our client is struggling, what is going on, so that we can make adjustments and be behaviorally flexible, which means we do whatever it takes to get our clients results. And we can bring in the right content at the right time. And of course, like we love structure. It would be great if, if people ask me, Amanda, what do I do in which order? And I could say, just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be great, but that's not life. And great coaches understand that. Great coaches step back and stop overthinking, and they listen in. They get curious. They use their ears, and they're like, oh, this is what's happening for her. And of course, the more repetitions you get, the more practice you get, the more you will start to see, and you're going to collect that evidence for your ability to be behavioral flexible and meet your client where they're at. And so I really, really encourage you to take a step back from coaching and really assess, are you going in with an agenda every time you coach someone? Because if you're following your agenda and you're not listening to them, you are not going to create consistency and results. So understand that journey. Look at your framework. Be flexible with your framework. Another area that I believe is key to creating consistency results is actually what you do from the very beginning of the coaching relationship. Often we are like, oh my gosh, we got a client, let's go. Or we're just so excited to spew all of our content. We know where we want to take them, that we don't pump the brakes in the beginning to establish specific goals with our people. If the people you're coaching don't know how to measure the results at the end of this relationship, they don't know if they had results, you guys. So you have to establish like a baseline for what results will look like. If someone says they want more confidence, then I want to know in 6 months, what is more confidence tangibly going to look like? If they say they want a thriving coaching business in 6 months, what does that look like? The reason I want to know this is because I don't know what's in their head. I don't know what thriving means or confidence means. They may not either. So they could go through and expect one thing. We get to the end of the relationship, like I didn't get any results. And you're like, yeah, look at all the results. You held a workshop, you made cash, you grew your audience. And they're like, yeah, but I wanted 100K. Well, had I known that in the beginning on day one, I would say we need to really look at the realism of your results. 100K in 6 months is not something that I'm going to guarantee, nor would I subscribe to as a 6-month target goal for somebody who's starting from scratch. So it's important because this vets out the communication between the two of us to make sure we're on the same page and to make sure that the results they're coming for are something that we are comfortable working through or towards rather. I see this so much is we never identified the target from the beginning. So we get to the end. And then as a coach, you're like, well, did I help them? I don't know. Like, well, let's just make it easy, you guys. Common sense. Let's set measurable outcomes so that you and I can both check in and discover whether or not the co-creation that we're doing, the teamwork that we're doing is actually cultivating the results that you want. Guys, this is basic and it's overlooked so much of the time. So if you're not setting specific goals in the beginning with measurable outcomes, I really encourage you to go back and take a look at what you're doing in the front end of the relationship, because that's going to dictate, the entire program that you are creating and how you interact with your clients. Again, spinning off of that, to create consistency and results, I really encourage you to create multiple checkpoints, whether this is formally through a form, as we talked about in last episode, or if this is verbally. I like to do it verbally, like every 30 days. I just go back and I look at the work we've done. I'm like, all right, remember our checkpoints, remember our measurable goals. Where are we? And sometimes I use scales, like on a scale of 1 to 5. How close do you think you are to getting to that goal? I'm at a 3. I'm like, sweet. What would it take for you to be at a 4? And when I ask them, like, what would it take for you to go up? They are telling me what they need. Coaching is about working smarter and not harder. It's about understanding and interpreting what's happening inside of their brain so you can do what you're good at, which is the content cultivation and building in the thing that is going to help them get there. But if you're not asking these questions and getting feedback from them, then you're not really sure, is this working? Is it not working? That's like the worst purgatory to be in, is all these stories in your head around coaching. Like, is she happy? Is she getting results? I don't know. Well, if you go from the beginning and you know what the results are and we've created measurable outcomes and we can check in on them verbally or by sending through a form, like you could send a form every month or every few months and getting their physical feedback, then that is like the sweet sauce because they know what the goals are. And so do I, so we can touch base on them. And sometimes goals change. So it's important to go, dang, like I already did that. Like we already launched my first workshop. What's next then? Right? Or I already hit that target. I have established a grounding day. I have blah, blah, blah. And so then you can move on to the next goal. And then are going to get even more results than they even originally signed up for. And hello, I am here for that. But it's like playing darts. If there wasn't a bullseye on the board and it was just a round circle, then there's no incentive to throwing darts to a specific location on the board. That's why there's outer rings and there's a bullseye. So you're trying to establish the bullseye on call one with your people. If you host a group program, this is a little bit more challenging depending upon the level of group and what you do inside your group. If you offer one-to-one or if you don't. If you're offering one-to-one supplemental, this could be something you do in those one-to-ones. In a group program, this takes a little bit more art and refining. And we can collect feedback, which I love to do inside of my group programs as well. We can go and survey and ask independently individual members of the group, right? And that gets a pulse and tone of what's happening inside as well. And sometimes on group calls, I'll just say, how's it going? Where are you at? Let's hit touch base. Right? I'm not meaning making the feedback mean anything. I'm exploring with curiosity. How do I show up and serve the needs of my people with more certainty? Like to me, this is the core and the heart of coaching, being curious and really releasing your own agenda and tapping into behavioral flexibility, which means, again, that I am willing to modify and adjust. I'm willing to jump up and down. I'm willing to do backflips if I could. Whatever I can to help support the client is what I'm willing to do to help them achieve results within reason, of course. And I want to make sure that they're willing to do the same. Honestly, to go back, that's a question I asked at the beginning. Are you willing to do whatever it takes to get results? If they say no, then I'm like, oh, well, then you may not want it bad enough. And I don't know if you're for me. Most say yes, because they are in the pain and I've grabbed them at the right time where I'm like, yes, that is my person. Let's go. So I hope that today's message really sits with you and you look at what opportunities do I have to strengthen the way I deliver my coaching so I can create more consistency in your results. If you're struggling with this, you guys, this is what we do inside the Best Damn Coach. We have live, open coaching conversations. So you bring those troubling pain points, the clients that aren't showing up, the clients that aren't doing the work, the struggle you have because you feel like you're not providing results, the struggle you have because you're not even finding clients. This is the work that we do. When you're amongst coaches who get it, we can just create so many brainstorms and ideas. I can give you direct coaching. There's opportunities for open coaching every month. I want you to be in a community of people that get you, people that understand the day in and day out of what it means to serve people, because it does come with this extra added energy. You're in somebody's life, right? You care about them. You want them to have results. And sometimes we just get in our own way of making that happen. So more to come on the BDC. And if you guys have any question about today's episode, please reach out, jump into the challenge at amanda-walker.com/skills. There's many days left, so you have not missed out. I cannot wait to see you inside the challenge. Or if this episode speaks to you, please, again, leave a review. If you're a longtime listener and you haven't, or if you're a new listener, this is how more people find us and we can serve more coaches and create more impact together. So have a wonderful day and we will see you next week. One of the most important things you will ever do as a coach is ask questions. So I've put together a simple go-to resource that you can have in your back pocket as a coach of 10 powerful questions I believe every coach should know. So go ahead and head on over to amanda-walker.com/questions to grab yours now.